With this one here. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Where's the like set up here?
Storyphile. Glad to have you all here. Glad to have our live webcast audiences. We're being broadcast live on laartstream.com. So if you're going to tweet some of your pals to watch, since they didn't make it down here tonight, they might enjoy watching it at home while they're babysitting or something. So it's great to have you all here. And we're going to just start out with a fellow who runs a local newspaper down there in San Pedro. What's the name of that paper?
That's it.
Oh, he doesn't remember. He's a newspaper man of first order and a wonderful singer and musician. Let's give a big welcome to a good friend of mine, James Preston Allen.
So, I've been doing a little bit of digging in my own archives a little bit. It's kind of a treacherous occupation. How many of you have traveled to Mexico? How many of you have been to a little place called Cuernavaca?
Nope.
And outside Cuernavaca, there's a little place called Tepoztlan. And Tepoztlan is kind of a mystical little place. I think there was a book written Under the Volcano. Never could quite understand the whole book, but now, when I was a much younger man, I took a trip to Mexico and visited the temples at the top of Tepoztlan. Just right. This land is strange and different than any that we've seen. We walk here by beauty that's around. You and I said I, oh I said with a sigh, what is it that you mind? It's written on your face, where you can see it, it's disgrace. It's a hurt inside you that cries. Like the faces at the temples on Temple's land. Oh, like the faces at the Temple's land. In her face I saw a future passing. Oh, I lived to this song and sing. And in her eyes I saw future and past. Oh, was it the questions that I asked? And I pressed like a little dress. Like the lightning in the sky, like the light in the eyes, oh darkness in the night, oh day and night, like a fugitive flight, oh through the mind, oh open my last words. Like the faces at the top, temples down. Like the temples at the top. So how many of you actually know where San Pedro is? How many have been there lately? Yeah. All right, okay, you know, where all those ships come in, they got all those surly sailors down there, you know. Well, almost 100 years ago, by the name of Joe Houston, and he became the poet laureate of a group of rabble-rousing union men. They used to call themselves the International Workers of the World. But one unfortunate incident, they used to go hang out at this Chinese fast food place because they had the cheapest food around. And these union guys did not have much money. And the Chinese cook, owner of the restaurant, could not pronounce International Workers of the World, and it came out something like Wally. And so these union guys just adopted the name, the moniker Wallies. But then there was this other guy who came along a few years back. Well, let me finish that part of the story, because this is sort of a prelude to the whole song. Joe Hillstrom, who later became Joe Hill, went on to Utah to organize out there, and he was framed for a robbery and murder, and was put up against the firing squad and was killed by the state of Utah. Because they weren't allowed to have their workers organized. But about probably were forced to read it in high school. Well, Upton Sinclair at one point was a socialist, you see. And I think the song tells the rest of the story as well. Oh, I hear echo from Liberty Hill. Reading the Constitution by Upton Sinclair. Oh, it still rings in this ocean air. I swear they hear voices, and now we're still here. Down at a place called Liberty Hill. See, back in 1923, there was on strike. Down in Petro, there was a place called Inside. Just off the beach street where the hall. While the walk we go off to their place they call me home. Just outside they were singing, hey, hey, Liberty Hill. Hey, hey, Liberty Hill. Echoes of this hill. I'm at a place called Liberty Hill. Now the bosses and the police and then the Klux Klan. All the spies gone and Whitten. Enforcement violations of law, single feet. While they live the wall, leave it, ripping knees. But they're singing, oh, hey, Liberty Hill. Hey, oh, hey, Liberty Hill. Echo, oh, right his hill. Down at a place called Liberty Hill. Well, now the Wallies, they fought for liberty, free speech, and the right to organize. They were beat up and killed by the police for these ideas. At a rally in 23, Sinclair was arrested for disturbing the peace. After reading 6 lines from the U.S. Bill of Rights, one of the bosses called down the LAPD. They looked there, singing, hey, oh, hey, Liberty Hill. Hey, oh, hey, Liberty Hill. Hey, oh, all is still. Down at a place called Liberty Hill. Well, Mayor Grier, you know, he didn't really respect civil rights. Police Chief Boek, he said, I know what it doesn't like. Well, arrested Sinclair, moved him from jailhouse to jail. Just so the boy, he was good, puts no bail. But you know, inside the jailhouse, you know what they were singing? year later, that police admitted to being goons for the boss. They were nothing more than hired thugs to cover for the lumber bosses. Now it's been written down in the history. Oh, it's good or true. This was the incident started in Southern California, ACLU. Oh, 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 hey. Oh, hey. Run out in the early morning, just about sunrise. You look out over this old gray harbor as the fog begins to lift. Now, if you turn your head just a certain way, catch that early morning wind. Oh, I swear there's an echo. A voice that passed us in. Now here, sleeping if you just prepare out there. Everybody here. One time I was down in Mexico, damn good water, and I was headed towards I read in the newspaper that there was a hurricane coming. And it was just about that time when they stopped using the just the feminine names for hurricane. So the old days they just thought that women were the only ones that had tempers or something. Anyway, so they started at the top of the list with 8, you know, and the name of the hurricane. I'm coming to the Yucatan. Cool, clear waters around. A little stillness in the sand. Hey, she was making sounds. It's the hour of receiving all my last requests. Now it's too late to leave, you know, and hey, we're just guests. Well, paradise is quiet, and she smokes her cigarette. All us Americans are nervous and drunken wild. It's some route to hell with him getting in disrespect. far south. Oh, there's a hurricane coming, happened to you. Hurricane coming, they got time to let loose. There's a hurricane coming, come blow right through town. Well, you might try to stand up, but it's gonna blow us right on down. Well, the fan turns slowly, and the bartender boy winds the clock. Paradise is in her bedroom, man faced with colored chalk. And the troubled old mind ties down everything they've got. Well, it's too late to leave, best do what you can. Boys, for another shot. Well, there's a hurricane coming, happening to you. Hurricane coming, we got nothing left to lose. There's a hurricane coming on the road right in town. Well, in my trust and the boys come blow right on down. Well, these moments of tranquility, just so hard to know. Seymour Presidente, you know it's like time and the sand. All your bombs and your guns have never made business. Understand? Well, the hurricane coming, happening to you. Hurricane coming, eyes will come right through. Hurricane coming on right through town. But in my trust and love, gonna blow you around. Soon the bus will blow you right on down.
James Allen Preston. All right, James is the editor of Random Links, which is a wonderful newspaper in San Pedro. You can get it online, and I advise you to get it because he'll give you a lot of stuff you might not know about. He doesn't write about the regular stuff you see on TV. Also, I want to remind everyone we're webcasting on the Artstream. Be sure and text your friends. Also, I want to thank Jason Ellenberg Jones for this wonderful backdrop. Flyers, if you notice what wonderful flyers we have on our mailings. This month is pole dancing polar bear. That's something hard to say. Anyway, it's great to hear you again, James. It's been a while since
I was curious about that polar bear dance.
Now you know what it was.
Yeah,
Now you got it. No, I wanted to make a whole cartoon of polar bears doing. He had one idea where the polar bear was playing cards and the cards were on fire. I kind of like that. But anyway, so nice to have you all here. I see our audience is growing as usual. I like that. And our next performer is someone we haven't had for a little while. We're really always happy to have her here. She performs a lot with We Tell Stories, and probably told your kids quite a few stories at some time or another. If we haven't, and you live in L.A., let's give a big warm welcome to Pogo Saito.
Microphones, show, I do late night. Okay. Okay, I've been working on a new piece, so I'll do that first, and then I'll do some of my older stuff. Just 3 little tracks. Father's Day is coming up, and this is a piece for my father. My father has been married 3 times. When he was 28, when he was 38, and when he was 48. And my father chose to always marry a 19-year-old white girl. And he's a, increasingly aging Japanese farmer. My mother is the second wife. And when I was 10, he married his third wife, who he met, when we talk about polar bear romancing, he met in a rough Idaho bar, bare knuckle boxing for money. And that's it. Anyway, but you'll learn more about her in this story. It's called Questions on Love and Devotion, and I sandwich it with a little song. So, standard. See the pyramids along the Nile. Watch the sunrise from a crocodile. Just remember, darling, all the while, you belong to me. You know what'd be nice? It's only like this. If everyone would go, whoa, whoa, whoa. In the marketplace, singing old Algiers. Send me photographs and souvenirs. Just remember when a dream appears, you belong to me. Maybe you'll be lonesome too and blue. Fly the ocean in a silver plane. See the jungle when it's wet with rain. Just remember till you're home again, you belong to me. Why would a man love a lady boxer? Maybe the fluid grace of her arms, or the way she can really take a punch, or maybe the flat. Why would a man love a young woman? Maybe the smooth skin on her face, or maybe the easy laughter, or maybe she makes him feel young too. Why would a man love a prostitute? Maybe the exotic taboo, or the way he feels about getting stuff for free, or maybe he hopes he can change her. Maybe he loved her. I can say that now. Maybe he loved her. I think she loved. She loved. She definitely loved. She loved heroin. She loved ex-cons. She loved running away. She loved telling stories for money. I had cervical cancer story, $1,000 more. by his own routine. A legend isn't supposed to live forever. Nobody is magic eating oatmeal anymore. It's still the same old story. A fight for love and glory. A case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. This is my only piece I've ever written concerning religion. I did it for a friend's piece. Sort of. It's called Mary. It's a promise. Mary, Mary, where you going to? Bethlehem. Mary, Mary, where you going to? Bethlehem. I didn't have a choice. Knock, knock. Who's there? The Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost who? The Holy Ghost who knocked up Mary. Just another teen pregnancy. Mary, Mary, where you going to? I'm going to marry Joseph. Mary, Mary, where you going to? I'm going to ride a donkey. I didn't have a choice. Knock, knock. Who's there? The donkey. The donkey who? The donkey who carried Mary. The only ass I ever had. Mary, Mary, where you going to? Mary, Mary, where you going to? I'm not your Virgin Mary. You're not my Lord, my God. I'm not your soon ye brethren. You're not my woody Allen. You're just a dirty old man. You're just a dirty old man. Click, click, go away. Click, click, go away. Click, click, go away. Click, click, go away. And this guy didn't take that Polaroid. Click, click, click.
Good, huh? Let's give another big hand. How we doing so far? Pretty good, huh? Yeah. Well, we're going to keep right on doing good because we got several more wonderful people to bring up here. The next one's a good old buddy of mine. He's done a lot of shows with me. We've done a lot of shows together. He's a wonderful storyteller, a wonderful character from right here in our very own Hollywood, not originally from Hollywood, but he was here. He's been here a long time. He has a lot of great stories. Let's give a warm welcome to Peter Coca.
Got a lot of things up here, man. Huh? Little shit. I just wrote this piece and I put it with another piece that I just wrote. I usually tell stories, but sometimes I like to be political because I'm political. I went to this here reading at Freedom of Speech, and I was reading this here piece that I wrote. And I said something about it, how Jesus was dead and the streets were running rampant with greed. And afterwards, some gal came up to me and she said, Jesus is not dead, he's been resurrected. I thought to myself, here's a gal that really didn't know what the hell I was talking. Now, a little while later, the same gal goes up in front of the mic and she sings a Jesus song. And then she asked us to join her in a Jesus prayer. To which I said, she can't be serious. To which somebody replied, it's freedom of speech. To which I replied, well, what about freedom from religion? It's not a revival meeting. Anyways, after she did her little Jesus prayer, she started really coming down heavy on prostitutes and pimps and people who do drugs. And then she kind of starts in on homosexuals, gay people. She says that if they didn't mend their way, they were going to rot in hell. And I started thinking about all the gay guys I knew and hung around with. And to me, man, nobody had it worse than the gay guys I knew. I mean, they had it really, really. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy what they went through. And then I started thinking about this here God of hers that likes to bring gay people into the world, humiliate them while they're here, and then wants them to rot in hell for eternity. Now, this is not my kind of God. No, my kind of God flows with the flow. It's the way of things. He is the way of things. It flows with the flow. It doesn't part the seas. It doesn't walk on water. And it certainly doesn't turn water into wine. God, I wish it did, but it didn't. No. God, and my God does not. Think about the dead, talk about the dead, we resurrect them. And I do this all the time. I'm always telling stories about friends of mine who aren't here anymore. Every time they whisper into my ear, I tell a story about them. And they're always whispering into my ears. Now, the last woman, the last person to get up in front of the mic was this elderly woman. She looked homeless and beat up by time. And she said she wasn't a poet, and she wasn't a musician, and she wasn't a storyteller, but she had a story that she had to tell. About every time how she sees a young woman on the street, she wants to put her arms around them to protect them. They all remind her of her daughter, who was stabbed to death by her boyfriend, and how she had to go to the morgue and I identify her daughter's chopped up remains. God, it was one of the saddest stories I've ever heard in my life. Sat in the whole night, and when I woke up in the morning, I was still feeling sad about that sad story. And then I heard on the radio about all those kids and teachers being shot to death in Newtown, not far from where I grew up. In fact, when I was a kid, we used to, around the 4th of July, we used to get on our bikes and we used to ride up to Newtown to buy firecrackers at the firehouse there. And they had a big mental institution there too. I think it was the biggest mental institution in the state. And when we were kids, instead of saying to somebody, you're crazy, we'd always say, you belong in Newtown. Every time we were going to say you're crazy, we say, you belong, they should put you in Newtown. So whenever I heard the word Newtown, I always thought of firecrackers and crazy people. And now all these kids and started thinking about all those drones he's sending all over the goddamn world. I mean, how many women and children and teachers you think are being blown up by those things that they like to call collateral damage? And what about the guy he proceeded, the shock and awe guy? How many bombs you think he let loose over Baghdad? How many teachers and kids and brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers do you think he killed in his little game of shock and awe? And this gets me like to thinking, you know, because they always call it collateral damage, but dead is dead is dead is dead. Whether some crazy kid goes into a school and mows down children and teachers, or some guy is dropping bombs on people and call it collateral damage. I mean, when I was a kid, I always looked at this country as being the dragon fighters. We fought the dragons, and now it seems that we are turning into the dragon. It's a dark age, man. I'm telling you, it's a dark, dark age. It's like prisons are being built like wildfire. 3 strikes and you're out, man. It's a dark, dark age we're living in here, in a dark age. There are more people locked up behind bars today than ever before, and crime is going down, and it'll keep on going down. The more people we lock up, the more crime will go down and down and down and down and down until there's nobody else to commit a crime but you. You're the only one left to commit a crime. And it has to be committed against you. You're the only one left. So now you have to be your own cop, judge, jury, build your own jails, or be your own jailer. Let yourself out. Get yourself in and out, in and out, in and out. An old yogi once said that we are all born with a certain amount of breaths in us. And the deeper you breathe, the longer you live. And the longer you live, the more you can lock yourself up. Let yourself out. In and out, right up until you die. In and out, in and out. When Jesus said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" was he talking to himself? And why did Nietzsche declare God dead and Freud call religion an illusion? And were the lost years of Christ his stepping stones to enlightenment, and the cross the apple on the pie? It's a dark age. We're living here in a dark age, man. Poor people like pieces of raw meat thrown into the fat cat's cage. It's a dark, dark age. Thank you.
You really cheered me up. What optimism there, yeah. No, that was great. That was well done, Peter. We had a shooting, a 20-year-old boy shot in our neighborhood today. And Varlo, who's here tonight, he saw it. Saw it go down, right? The boy was walking with his parents. He was shot down in the streets right down from our house. So it's going on. Pete wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. Thank goodness we have each other, and we have music, and we have those we love and care about, and there's plenty we can do. There's plenty to do about all that. So let's not give up in despair. Even though we do. It's not necessary. You know, we're gonna live it on out and keep doing it. I'm really glad to have all of you here tonight. Well, we're going to keep right on rolling because we've got a wonderful cast. So I'm going to invite my good friend, a writer by the name of Terrance Whitten out here to read a piece of music. Does he read? Do you watch?
That's a good one, Terrance.
Is this a good one?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So it would be a pretty good guess to say that all of you present here tonight have taken the true leap of faith in so many ways. Truth be told, sometimes getting out of bed in the morning can feel like a leap of faith. But can any of you say that you've taken not just a leap of faith, but a blind leap of faith? I can. I have taken that blind leap of faith, and I've done so more than once. But the leap that I want to remember tonight took place in the spring of 1996. I had been living in Seattle for nearly 5 years and been unable to pull a stable life together. The city was gorgeous, but gorgeous does not mean secure. In February of '96, I answered an ad, a newspaper ad, seeking an English instructor for a position in a private academy in South Korea. I was a man of little property, save for my thick artist portfolio, and I had no significant emotional attachments that bound me to the city, or to the United States for that matter. What did I know about South Korea? I knew where it was, a little more. With my meager possessions put into storage, I settled into an 18-hour flight that took me to the other side of the world. Save for this native Detroit boy's occasional visits to our Canadian neighbor, and a week spent in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, I was not an international traveler. Now I was really going international, not international. Signing that year-long contract with Hansen Academy in Seoul's southwestern suburb of Kechina was definitely a blind leap of faith because I had no idea what was waiting for me once that plane landed and came overboard. I could not even speak a word of language, though my new Lonely Planet dictionary was poised to become one of my best friends during the coming year. I was met at the airport by an official of the academy, the Hogwarts. Mr. Sun knew sufficient English for basic communication. He and Mr. Chung, the more adept head English teacher, and two other less proficient teachers at the Hogwarts were the only people I could communicate with for quite some time. Once my serious jet lag had passed, to say that the ensuing 2 weeks' severe culture shock was surreal and polite. I had truly felt like I had stepped off a cliff into an Asian world that, even though I recognized most of my urban environment, still made so little sense to me at the same time. My complete lack of control in my own life only added to the painful disorientation. I could give you stories, but it best be said that I always feel to feel angry, and there was not a moment when I did not think that I had made a huge mistake. But once I got over expecting from my host environment and started accepting, I was able to allow myself to experience willingly the interesting, though often challenging world around me. After a few weeks, the poorly performing Hogwarts subcontracted my services out to 3 different public middle schools in Kechina. At first I objected, as the American concept of a solid, unbreakable contract bumped heads with the Koreans' more flexible concept, a chronic problem in Korean-American business affairs. But by my second day in those public school classrooms, my objections had not to be ready. Over the following year, I taught conversational English to 4 classes of preteens in 3 different middle schools. And I can say today, 18 years later, that all the hours shared with the South Korean boys and girls were among the very brightest of highlights in my life. A gift that I would not have had had I not made that big, blind leap of faith in the spring of '96. Now, when I speak of things being surreal, I must not always put my story into a negative light, because it serves me to recall a pleasant Sunday in May on my first solo weekend excursion by train to Seoul. I was walking through the crowded Myeongdong shopping district and I heard the 1965 song California Dreaming by the Mamas and the Papas playing loudly from shops out into the crowded lanes. I heard the song at least 3 times. Why that one American song and from so many different shops? Hearing the song did have its nostalgia for me, as John Phillips and his group were a big deal in my adolescence. But on that Sunday afternoon, the song's unexpected presence only added to Korea's big bag of surprises. I came to learn that the song had been used in a film that was a hit in Korea that past winter. A dark 1994 film from Hong Kong, Wong Kar-wai's Chungking Express. Its title translates into Chungking Jungle, and it's a Godard-like tale of loneliness and earth amid a sterile concrete and steel, amid the sterile concrete and steel of an impersonal urban jungle. The character of a dreamy snack bar waitress, played by the famed Chinese diva Fei Wong, uses the song's plaintive lyrics to express the longing felt by everyone in the film, and as a song of hope amid that bleak world. The odd film had been such a hit in South Korea that the Mamas and the Papas vintage California Dreaming began being played on the radio and had been all that season. The song had been embraced as a symbol of the longing of many South Koreans, but not of Asians from all over the continent, a longing to join their numerous fellow countrymen in America, preferably sunny Los Angeles. Just ask any of the people in the long, long line of South Koreans seeking various visas every weekday at the U.S. Embassy in downtown Seoul. So many of them eager to find a new life in a new land. Each one of them ready to make that big leap of faith. At the end of my year's contract with South Korea, I spent a month in Israel before returning to the Pacific Northwest and its familiar frustrations. Amid the instability, in 1998 I managed to write my first screenplay, which led to another big blind leap of faith. My move to LA in the spring of 1999 with my script in hand. A rather early acquaintance in Seattle had been blunt enough to say that, quote, "We can't go fishing with the fishing pole if we're stuck out in the desert," unquote. That was enough to motivate me to move once again to a place I've never been to before. Another place where I'm really not a soul. I can say with delight that my first neighborhood in Los Angeles was Venice Beach. Any talk about John Phillips' California Dreaming always leads me to Ryan Wilson, with all of my 60s boyhood, Beach Boy fantasies taking on their own kind of surreal life in that colorful community. And Jim Morrison's provocative voice was calling out to me just as strong. Come 2007, in my Korean teaching experience, I landed a position as an ESL instructor at Koreatown Academy. That is, English as a second language. And to Asian students primarily, the majority of them South Korean, with many from Japan, Thailand, and Mongolia. Nearly all of them were taking that same leap of faith in their lives. Most having left the security of everything they know and traveling to a far-off city, to a place that most of them know only as the fantasy of the movies and from the song. And most of them sat before me experiencing the same kind of disorientation and culture shock that I had experienced back in 1996. One day in 2010, my academy director told me that I had a new student in the level 2 class. She was from Pogo. That was a first for me. As you know, there is a continued state of war between the South and the North that is being kept at bay by a human monitored truce. When I was in Korea, the situation was never spoken of. In 1996, I never felt the evil specter of the North's Kim Jong-il looming from just across the distance. The English language Korea Times would cite infamous indication that life seemed to go on as if a dramatically different and possibly dangerous world did not exist in the mountain, with families continuing to be separated on both sides all these years later. So when I was told that we were having a North Korean woman joining the classes, I pictured a malnourished creature with a bad haircut and worse clothes. But talk about a Korean bag of surprises. In walks a woman who could have taught Marilyn Monroe how to walk in heels. Gorgeous from head to foot, perfect hair and skin, manicured nails, a body straight off a fashion photo shoot, great clothes, and then could that woman walk in those heels? And she could even speak decent English. Kim Sun-hee was her name. She must have been the daughter of some North Korean bigwig, because this woman had either been born into relative affluence in a country that had so little, or she had been chosen and groomed by the elite. Soon he turned out to be very reticent about sharing details of her life. I do know that she got out of military through China, found her way to Seoul. Here was a woman who turned her back on what was likely a purpose life and made a blind leap of faith into the unknown. Once, privately, I asked her why she left behind her life and her career. It seemed at first as if she was not going to answer me. Her brow creased as she looked off, out the window to the bright purple bougainvillea behind the walls of the parking lot. A smile that came to her lips, and she turned back to me with a warm, California dream. I knew instantly what she meant by those words and why she said them. I guess that among the privileges Kim Sung-hee had enjoyed in her career was access to DVDs, and most certainly June Express. It turns out that Sung-hee also was a big fan of the Chinese King of Fame. We even hummed into John Phillips' song together. Sung-hee has gone on to make an American life for herself. Then, almost 3 years later, my academy had welcomed another liberator as a new level of institute. Kim Joo-hae made his way out of North Korea to China in 2003. Joo-hae also found a home in South Korea, in my old neighborhood, Kechina, where he came to marry and now has an 8- and 4-year-old daughter. They are all new residents of Los Angeles, at least for the duration of Daddy's visa. In class, in front of the other dozen students, most of them South Korea, I asked Joo-hae why he come to Los Angeles. This man also had not benefited from the English education that his southern cousins had received. And it is not likely that he enjoyed the kind of privileges that Sung-hee received. But just like his beautiful North Korean comrade, sitting there in my classroom, Joo-hae looked away out the window towards the colorful bougainvillea, his lips moving as he tried to put some very understood words together to describe the dramatic, blinding of faith he made in 2003. Especially as he had just made a big leap once again. This time to the other side of the world and with his family in his side. And just like Sung-hee, I thought that Joo-hae was not going to be able to give me an answer. But then his eyes lit up with memory and a smile came to his lips. Joo-hae then said with pride, California dream. I could only smile, for there were no words to say, save that Joo-hae must also have access to a particular DVD. I should have been surprised at the coincidence, but no, these words only went to reinforce the notion that art can transcend the man-made glitter. Several of the South Korean students nodded in recognition of the song's title. They would have been only adolescents at the time of its popularity in the homeland, but the song's seed message still remains in all their memories. We were sitting there together, the teacher and the students, all of us intimate with not only the joys and the rewards, but also the fears and the hazards of taking daring leaps of faith in our lives. And there we were, only an hour away from the sunny beaches of our fantasies, all of us, California dreaming. Calm sound to that. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Jerry. All right, we're going to keep right on going here. I'm really happy to have this next guest with us tonight. She and I have been taking some acting classes together and having a great time. From Aretha Sills, who is the granddaughter of Viola Spolin, who wrote the book on improvisational theater. And this woman has been at it a long time, and it gives me great pleasure to present Melinda Skilondz.
I'm so pleased. I'm even more pleased. I'm very, very pleased to be here at this town hall meeting tonight to announce my candidacy for the presidency of the United States of America. Yeah. I am running. Hello. Oh my goodness gracious, you are just turning it around, aren't you? He's a spinmeister. Watch it. Hi, my name is Victoria Woodhull. I ran for president in 1872, and I'm running again